going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, as promised, I have one final negative video that I want to go ahead and discuss with you guys regarding Xdefiant. I know, I probably shouldn't be doing any of this stuff because, God forbid, if you share a different opinion that's not either, 24/7 positive or 24/7 negative, you are going to be absolutely crucified. People just simply cannot handle it. But you guys know me on this channel. I really do not care. I always keep an open mind. I always try to discuss everything across the board. And yes, obviously, I really do enjoy Xdefiant, but at the end of the day, is there negative stuff that's going on? Yes, there is, and I'm going to go ahead and cover it. But, ladies and gentlemen, before we go ahead and dive deep into the topic of today's video, if you do enjoy what you hear today and want to hear some more content revolving around Xdefiant, Call of Duty, or even Battlefield, don't forget to go ahead and subscribe and hit that notification button. And last but not least, if you guys do want to catch any extra content that's not video format, some different vibes, I do live stream every day besides Sundays over on Kick. You guys can actually find the link to that channel and pretty much all my other social medias down in the description of this video. Now, ladies and gentlemen, today's negative isn't necessarily a really bad thing, or as an opinion I've been seeing thrown around the overall Xdefiant community, even the Call of Duty community as well, and that is the movement. Now, I don't necessarily see this as a super negative thing for the overall lifespan of this game. I think a lot of people will still, regardless, play this game, especially people like me. It doesn't really affect me at all. I enjoy it. I love everything about it. The gunplay, the movement, the vibes, the flow. I really do enjoy Xdefiant. But I would say for the mass majority of people out there, one of the biggest complaints I see is that not really the skill-based matchmaking, because there is no skill-based matchmaking, but the sweat really does lie in the movement of this game. It's pretty sweaty, I will admit. There's a lot of jumping, a lot of jump strafing, and a lot of movement mechanics to go ahead and master this game. Now, what I like about it is that it's not overly, complex when it comes to movement. It's nothing like Apex Legends, for example. Now, it's a little bit more refined, a little bit more toned down. It feels like Call of Duty, but kind of on crack, almost like Black Ops 4, to be completely honest with you, but a tad bit more fast-paced. Basically, you have the same momentum of Black Ops 4, but at the same time, when it comes to side strafing and doing other mechanics in the air, it's a lot more easier, fluent, and you don't really lose too much momentum while doing moves like this. And I appreciate that because, again, like I said, it's not over the top, but at the same time, it's not so bare minimum that you don't really notice too much of a skill gap. But with this type of movement comes a lot of complaints from people who are a lot more casual. And with the gaming community becoming so competitive nowadays, you best believe pretty much every single lobby that you pop into, you will see a handful of people really using and abusing the movement mechanics in this game. I mean, shoot, even in the welcoming playlist where it's like only level 1 through something, it's for beginners who are hopping in Xdefiant. Even in that playlist, you will still see people absolutely dominating when it comes to movement. And like I said, it's just how gamers are nowadays. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that I see across pretty much everywhere, Twitter, YouTube comments, streams, a lot of people have a problem when it comes to the movement in this game. And I'll be honest, you are kind of forced into understanding the flow of Xdefiant, and if you don't understand the flow of Xdefiant, you're going to get mopped. I have to be real, I'm not trying to be rude or mean or anything of that sort, but, being a top skilled player in Xdefiant compared to, someone who might just hop in every once in a while and doesn't want to learn the movement mechanics and just the gameplay flow in general, because, you could play this game barely at all and you can still excel at it if you are willing to learn, but a lot of people don't want to have to go through all the extra steps of learning all of, the mechanics of the game to get good at it. And I'm telling you, it's going to cause a massive skill gap. It is, versus someone who knows how to actually jump strafe and, basically side strafing and stuff of that sort, and know how to, use the movement to their advantage along with their accuracy. I'm not talking about people who are just spamming 360s everywhere and making their, none of that nonsense. I'm talking about people who actually know how to strategically use movement to their advantage in a timely manner. And it might look like they're cracked out, it might look like they, like they are spamming it like I just mentioned, but no, people, they know how to use this stuff in a timely manner when it should be appropriate, and it's just a nice slow flow for them. But when you're looking at the screen, yeah, they're going to town, but it's all timed out. It's all planned. It's nothing spammy. It's nothing pointless. And that gap, I personally think, is going to really kill a lot of the casual love for this game. Again, for me personally, I don't care. I like everything about this game, the gunplay, the movement, the flow, the vibes. I'm all here for it. But for this game to become, what everybody wants it to be, the COD killer, again, I'm perfectly fine with where it's at as being just a nice competitor for the arcade arena shooters that just gives me something else to do. But if we really want this to make Call of Duty, shake in their boots, if we really want, massive changes out of COD from this game, it's going to have to pull in the casual audience. It's just as simple as that. That's what COD is made out of. We are a very hardcore community when it comes to what we want out of Call of Duty, what we enjoy out of the 6v6 side of the game. Yet and still, we are ignored and neglected year after year after year while they pull in millions from their game year after year after year. They can milk this franchise like it's nothing, and it's because they have a stupidly massive casual audience. And so can other, games out there as well, even Battlefield. Believe it or not, even though Battlefield does get its changes and, we do fight back to a certain extent and, it's not as bad as Call of Duty is. But, I mean, they can persuade their fans to cough into Battlefield, whenever they release a title. Look at 2042. They convinced everybody that was going to be a banging title that was going to, resemble the classic Battlefield 4, Battlefield 3 days. It was so easy for them to convince us all, me included, obviously. It's just what these big franchises can do. They have a casual audience that knows the name, that knows of the franchise, that, might enjoy the games, that will gladly buy right into it. And because of that, they can thrive. And we might not need a stupidly massive casual audience, but we're going to have casuals, And with the way that this game plays, I can definitely see it turning into just being a very competitive, sweaty, overall arcade arena shooter. Nothing wrong with that. That's typically, if we're going to be honest, that's how the majority of arcade, arena shooters turn out to be, right? Even the classic of classics, like, Quake or Doom. Typically those games boil down to just the most competitive sweat you could possibly think of. Casuals don't stick around in games like, arena shooters that much because they are complex games. They are complex FPSs. They take a lot of time, practice, and learning to become masterful at them, and there's a lot of skill gaps in between all of those games. Call of Duty was probably the most casual game, arcade game at least, I can think of out there, in the arena shooter realm. So it's to be expected that this game is going to be quite sweaty, but to compete with COD, man, that's basically my question to you guys. That's basically my question. Do you think that this game is going to last? Do you think it's going to be a game that can pull in a casual audience and have them return, every new battle pass that drops, every new season that drops, every so often, are we going to be able to have that audience return? Or will they eventually leave the game to go back to Call of Duty? And once again, the game will boil down to the hardcore fans. I mean, just look at the gameplay that you're watching right here. World at War, a classic. this is OG stuff. When Call of Duty was in its prime, it was blowing up, it was becoming relevant. Every game, up to probably the jetpack phase would play semi like this. You got a jump shot, you got a drop shot. You can even see how I'm playing the game. The majority of the game relies on gun skill and positioning. That's basically it. There's not much else of a skill gap besides positioning. COD is a huge positioning game. Whether you like it or not, whether you think camping is bad or not, getting a good power position and either holding an objective, holding a spawn, you will rack in a ton of kills because that's just the whole point of COD. But comparing this gameplay to the Xdefiant gameplay is a night and day difference. Shoot, even if I went over to Black Ops 4, which is a lot more fast-paced, it would still be a night and day difference with how people, or the more, sweaty, competitive players, play each of those games. Again, I want to believe that they're going to be able to pull in tons of casuals to enjoy this experience, and I hope they do. But man, the sweats are going to be sweats. They just simply are. That's what gaming is nowadays. And they're going to be going crazy. At the end of the day, it comes down to if people are willing to put up with that or if they're not. And I think there is going to be a handful of people who are willing to put up with that experience. But at the same time, I do believe a massive majority will still probably fall back and go back to, Call of Duty, as they always do. Personally, myself, what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be more than likely playing Xdefiant. I like the game, regardless if it's going to be sweaty or not, regardless of any of that nonsense. I enjoy what I play. I've been adapting. I've been getting used to the flow of it. I usually enjoy, playing new FPS games anyways. I like learning something a little new. It's fun. It's exciting. I think I'm going to play it. I think a lot of people out there are going to play it. It's going to have its own audience. It really is. It's going to thrive on in its own way. But, don't expect it to be a Call of Duty killer, but just expect it to be a good competitor. But, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for checking out this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like, bonus, I hate it, leave a dislike. Also, for a brand new, enjoy the content, subscribe to the bell cage button. Also, in chat with this to do so, Twitter and Discord, both linked down in the description. Also, want to catch me live streams of video games over on Twitch. Link that's in the description as well. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. See you on the next one. Peace out.